in a set, including the pants, belt, chest, and gloves. That's the start, right? 4 pieces of menace. You need Little Rogue, you need Slanderer, Illusory Boots, Lefurb Soliloquy, Leoric's Crown, some amulet, we'll get to this later, but you can start off with all resist amulets, so like fire resist or arcane resist are usually good if you can get globes on them. We'll talk about all that. Strong arms, Oculus Ring, and Obsidian Ring. I'm not even talking about stat priorities yet, we'll get there. In the cube, Flying Dragon, Spirit Guards, and Countless Julia's cameo. So this is what I was talking about with, so early on you can do arcane resist, fire resist. Alright, so stat priorities for the Z-Monk. You'll see that on certain pieces of gear, like shoulders, chest, jewelry, and boots, they roll secondaries that have health globes. Health globes and potions grant 32,000. These need to be base on all support monk gear. You must have health globes on every piece that rolls health globe. Also base on all support monk gear cooldown. This piece has 8 cooldown. This piece has 8 cooldown. This doesn't roll cooldown. Jewelry, cooldown, cooldown, and cooldown. This one has gloves. Alright. So after you have that base of health globes and cooldown on every piece, cooldown here, then you start rolling attack speed on every piece. Every piece that can get it. So Oculus Ring gets, you start iterating in this stuff, right? Attack speed you get on your Oculus Ring, you get on your Obsidian Ring, you get it on your amulet. Little Rogue and Slanderer both get attack speed. You're aiming for like the highest attacks per second that you can get on these right here. What did we go over? In the sockets, there's all resist gems because it's a armor class. So you're rolling with armor or all resist gems instead of like some sort of dex gems or something like that. You want cooldown in your helm, so you roll with a diamond in helm as well. What else do we need? Legendary gems in your jewelry, you go with Ice Blink because this skill, Crippling Wave, is a cold skill which will apply a 10% increased critical hit chance to everybody who's doing damage in your party. You want Gogok for the attack speed and cooldown, and you want Gem of Efficacious Toxin. This is a 10% increased damage, 10% damage reduction gem. These are the basics. I'm gonna go over the skills. This is the basics for gearing. For the skills, and there's a lot of variation in this. We can talk about some of the variations here in a minute. There's like more than 2 basic variations of Z-Monk, but I'll go over the 2 that have to do with this Leoric and his gear set. So, Crippling Wave, Tsunami, that's your generator attack. Basically, you're using this all the time to keep your Spirit Guards buff up, and to basically like Epiphany on to the next mob. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but Epiphany, Soothing Mist, this is your main heal. If you read the tooltip, it says that you heal yourself and your allies for 16,000 life, and your melee attacks instantly dash to the target. This is your mobility, and then your heal amount is increased by 4% of your health club healing bonus. Time of Need is also a big part of this build. This particular build I use with Chant of Resonance, Time of Need. So what that does is it allows you to basically spam this button. You spam this button, your allies won't take much damage through the rift. So as I'm walking, I'm constantly pressing this shield button. I'm getting resources back because I'm also generating. I'm epiphaning onto next mobs and generating. Inner Sanctuary, this is like a huge damage reduction buff for the party. Allies take 55% less damage while inside of this. And the Templar Protection Rune makes it so they basically get something like an IP effect. They're immune to crowd control and pairing effects. Cyclone Strike, this is the big pull-in. It also acts as a reset with Obsidian Ring of the Zodiac. So like, you cast this, you get the cooldown on your Soothing Mist back. So this is why you're stacking cooldown on every piece, so you can get your Epiphany Soothing Mist back. And because you can get your Temple Protection, your Sanctuary Temple Protection. What rune for Cyclone Strike? Yes, thank you. Cyclone Strike, I'm using Implosion. I think most people over time have switched to Implosion. There used to be builds that ran with Soothing Breeze. You should know that Implosion pulls things in from farther. Soothing Breeze is a very minor contribution to your healing. Use Implosion over Soothing Breeze because most of your healing, you've got good attack speed. Most of your healing comes from Soothing Mist, your Epiphany Soothing Mist. Don't forget Sanji Bleed on weapon. It's important to note that with the wizard meta, I'm doing this guide video for the wizard meta solely, season 13 wizard meta. And so it used to be the case that you had to, as Z-Monk, roll bleed onto your weapons. It is no longer the case that you need bleed on any weapons. You can have the ideal roll, which is kind of like what I have here, attack speed, cooldown, resource cost reduction. Preferably, like, I would rather have max attack speed, max cooldown, max resource cost reduction. It's important to know with these weapons that they always roll. This is why I keep a bunch of these around. So if you look at these weapons, let me see if I can find a shitty one. So for example, I don't think I kept really shitty ones around. So this one is useless. Chance to immobilize on hit, chance to blind on hit, chance to stun on hit. You got to look at the secondaries on these things. If you get chance to blind, fear, stun, etc. on hit, trash that weapon. Don't use it. Trash it. Don't use it. With the current meta, the Z-Necro meta, you can't have crowd controlling effects on your weapon. So go with stuff like this. Life after each kill, monster kills, grant experience. Life after a kill, monsters kills, grant experience. It's whatever you can get where it doesn't roll crowd control effects. Did I go over passives yet? Okay, passives. I'm running with Near Death Experience, Beacon of Utah. These two are basically standard components of the build. So is Resolve because it gives like a base 20% damage reduction. So those three are going to be standard in every build. Chant of Resonance is particularly for this time of need build. The other variation of the build, you'll switch Chant of Resonance to, for example, Seize the Initiative. That's a really good option. Seize the Initiative and then Mantra of Salvation Agility. You'll see that there's a lot of other passives that you can take. For example, here's Unity, a 5% damage buff. You'll see some people running with this. If you start to roll Hellfires, so for example, like here's a Hellfire that I can't wear because I can roll attack speed cooldown, but it doesn't have health globes on it. And like I was saying earlier, at base for this build, you have to roll maximum cooldown and maximum health globes. You can kind of fudge a little bit on the attack speed. It's not great for end game tier push. You don't want to fudge on the attack speed, but cooldown and health globes at minimum. Yeah, and if you have your attack speed where I have, chat's already like blowing me up. You have your attack speed where I have it, you actually don't need the extra healing. The extra healing from Seize the Initiative. This is basically a 30% attack speed buff all the time. It's great if you're having like survivability issues. The group you're running with is having survivability issues, you can take this over Unity. If you're going for speed runs and you know that your group is really competent, run Unity, because this is going to be probably the difference between one-shotting and not one-shotting elites. It's pretty important. And like I was saying with the Hellfires, once you can run with the Hellfire, so I've got near-death experience on here, imagine I could switch near-death experience to Seize. And now you've got both of those passives. Last season I used to get really ballsy and go with like another passive because I could drop near-death experience, but that was probably stupid of me. Or really smart of me, I don't know. Anyway, so those are the passives. So I've gone over gearing, which everybody always goes over gearing. I've gone over skills. Everybody always goes over skills. And the other thing that I want to do is go over playstyle. This is the more important part. Alright, it's 4:10 p.m., 4:11 p.m. So what I need to do is I need to either find a group to do this or find just a barb to pull things. Because what I want to do is show what you need to be thinking about as you're going through and playing the Z-Monk. Because I think a lot of people screw it up, because what they'll do is they'll automatically enter a rift. So I'll just open something I know I can't kill immediately. They'll open a rift, they'll go in, and they'll hit Cyclone Strike. They'll hit their generator, and then they'll do this move. They'll cycle in on everything. Cycle in on everything as they're going through. The barb's gonna love you if you cycle in everything as you're walking through. Just fucking kidding. Don't do that. Don't fucking do this. This is why you don't do it. I'm gonna pause it. This is why you don't do this. For every time that a mob is crowd control, you have 2 instances of crowd control that you can apply before they start getting what's called diminishing returns. People will call it DR. If things are DR'd, you can't pull them. The barb needs to pull things along. If you're doing this, barb can't pull things along. You're causing the rift to go a lot longer than it has to. It takes a lot more time to pull a rift as barb if the Z-Monk is doing this the whole time. Even if you think you're doing some benefit to, like, you know, saving your party member or something like that, you're not. Just go to the setup point. Go somewhere. Like in this rift, there's not a lot of good setup points, but usually the barb chooses somewhere like right here in the middle of this map. Because from here, you can see that you can pull from this direction up here, you can pull from this direction down here, you can pull from the left, and pull from the right. So you got 4 directions to pull from. You just set up Inner Sanctuary here, everything comes into this center point, you blow it up really quick and then move on. So this is the playstyle portion of the video. So first of all, don't DR shit. Like, hit your epiphany, once you hit your epiphany, then you can like hit your generator and then epiphany to things in the rift. You'll see that I'm not even using Cyclone Strike as I'm moving through the rift. I'll pause it again. You don't need the Cyclone Strike for toughness. Since season 12, they made it so Spirit Guards is now, what is it? Is it a, I'm gonna go back to the cube and read the Spirit Guard stuff. I'm gonna go back to the cube and read the Spirit Guard stuff. So I think it's like 60%? Yeah, 60% reduced damage taken. That's huge. It used to be something like 40%. It's an incredible amount of toughness. You don't need to Cyclone Strike. This is why people Cyclone Strike. They need they think they need an extra 50% damage reduction to get through mobs. This isn't a hard and fast rule. So certain mobs, if you've got a whole bunch of range damage incoming, you do want to Cyclone Strike to keep yourself alive. But what you do is you go off to the side here, where you're not going to hit as many things. You Cyclone Strike, and then you move on. So no mobs here, Cyclone Strike, move on. You can Cyclone Strike without DRing a ton of mobs. Just be smart about it, right? Think about what you're up to. Alright, so think about this position right here. You've got this donut-shaped plague tunnels. The barb is going to want to put either right here or right up here. Why does the barb want to do that? Because the barb can pull from this direction on the left, this direction at the top, and this direction at the bottom. Depending on where you are in the plague tunnels, he's either going to want to set up top or bottom. The barb is probably going to flag or tell you where to set up. But you can use your intuition about where you are in the rift to tell you, alright, well, we've gone through 2 donuts. He's probably going to want to set up at the top of this donut. Corners are good places to set up. If you look at this map, so this map you wouldn't want to set up here because it has this standard layout. So if you come right here, you'll notice, I'll explore the rest of this portion so I can show you. You'll notice that this is the standard layout right here. It has this T shape in Plague Tunnels. So you would set up right here because the barb can pull from this direction up here, this direction down here, and then this direction right here. So 3-direction pull. So you basically need to anticipate what the pull barbarian need is in the meta. You anticipate the barb's needs, you set up where you're supposed to set up, which is usually going to be right here. And then he's going to pull everything from 3 directions, you're going to pop it, you're going to move on. Plague Tunnels, this is the big open area, you set up right here. He's going to pull again from this direction over here, this direction down here, and then everything's going to funnel in from that back tomb right there. How does this look like a Foost stream? You don't like my bear? Excuse me, Mr. Streamer. The progression bar is yellow. Why isn't purple? This guide doesn't seem to be working. Wasn't trying to clear the rift. I was on Zima. You so crazy. Alright, dudes. So, in order to do the third part of this guide, putting it all together, and Nestle has already said something to me about like do a guide about like what to do on the boss fight. I'm gonna do a guide about what to do on the boss fight. I'm gonna need to put together a group for that, but I can give you the basic gist of it here in town. So on the boss fight, you've got Inner Sanctuary down on the boss. You always have whatever mantra you're running, either Mantra of Salvation or Time of Need up, and then you rotate between your skills. So you've got Epiphany up for the healing, you rotate between your skills, you hit Generator, Cyclone, Mantra, Inner Sank. Generator, Cyclone, Mantra, Inner Sank. You don't hit more than twice. You don't hit more than twice on any given rotation. So you hit 1, 2, 3, you'll see this big animation, this big circular animation. You hit that animation, what you're doing is you're applying this effect, the Ice Blink effect, which freezes the boss. Wait, is that it? No, it's this one. Sorry, the third hit of the generator freezes the boss, not the Ice Blink. So what this does is it applies a control and parrying effect, which shares diminishing returns with things like stun and, for example, Land of the Dead, which your Rift Guardian killer uses to kill the boss. If the boss has diminishing returns on it, then he's not going to do any damage during his damage cycle. So what you're trying to do is basically rotate through your skills so that you can keep your Gogok stacks up, which, yeah, I don't have it running right now. So you're trying to rotate through your skills so you can keep your 15 stacks of Gogok up, while at the same time not applying that third hit. You can just tap your generator, and then that'll keep your Gogok stacks up. You don't actually have to like use the third hit of your generator. That's the basics of it. I can go through in more detail for when I actually do a playstyle video in practice, but those are the first two parts. I've done gearing and I've done basic playstyle without having any group around. So 420 in that. All right. I'm gonna go back and clip those highlight videos and put them on YouTube.